Hello and welcome to our series of presentations from TEDFest 2018. I'm Jay Herratti, TEDx Executive Director, and today you're going to hear the official State of the X brought to you by myself and my fellow TEDx team members, Frederica Yosifov of Media and Will Davis of Development. All 500 of us here are part of this global phenomena called TEDx, the world's largest grassroots network for discovering and spreading ideas. Our mission is to find ideas and then to spread them. And in the process, we want to make waves, find those ideas that spread well beyond the stage and make a positive impact on people's lives. Collectively, our communities continues to flourish and reach new heights. Our global footprint continues to expand, with more communities joining and more events than ever before. Your TEDx talks are reaching bigger audiences. We grew our total views by more than 80% last year and surpassed 1 billion views in 2017 alone. We are much stronger when we work together as one community. So let's take a moment to celebrate all these amazing accomplishments. And TEDx events, as you know, happen in places all around the world, sometimes in massive stadiums, in beautiful performance halls, or in spectacular auditoriums. They also take place in smaller venues during TEDx salons, which bring communities together and spark conversations in more intimate environments. And you know, TEDxers are nothing if not creative, holding events in unique spaces like this castle in Slovakia, a zinc museum in Poland, a public square in Spain, a former brick factory in Canada, and even in a cave 160 meters underground. When we look at our community in its entirety, our scale and impact are truly awe-inspiring. But as you know, the real magic of TEDx happens on the ground, in local communities, at your events, and on your stages. We have 3,000 communities around the world. We can't talk about them all, but we're going to go on a little tour and visit just a few of them. My colleagues are going to take us on this tour. Please welcome first, Will Davis, followed by Frederica Yosifov.
G'day. Every day, we're amazed by what we see happen at local TEDx events. We don't travel often, and when we do, it's primarily to workshops rather than to events themselves. Regional workshops are happening all the time, across the US and throughout the world. Just like at conferences such as TEDFest, the most powerful lessons at these workshops come from organizers. It could be hearing the story behind an image, or a conversation about the how and why behind a creative installation at an event. Perhaps you'll learn how a best-in-class social media strategy was made. Take advantage of these opportunities. At TEDFest and at home, your team can develop so much more when you connect with peer-level teams. Consider initiating your own workshop. They come in all shapes and sizes. Simply email our community team. Your best resource are your fellow organizers. Look out for emails from our community team about upcoming gatherings, where you'll begin to see what we see. Just how this mighty, interwoven community grows across the world. Even when we're not traveling, we're always listening out for the latest experiential learning design. Not just ideas, but event innovations themselves. I'm going to share some innovative practices we've seen recently beyond the stage, starting with Indonesia at TEDx Ubud in Bali. They maintain a very clear photo style for their portrait photography, which is helpful for preserving the event's online identity. At the event, they used a similar look for speaker displays. These were a sustainable, cost-effective way for guests to meet the speakers instead of printed programs. It also gave them a chance to enjoy the incredible reception area. You can see the speaker stands along the right-hand side at the entrance. Their event benefited from Bali's incredible weather. But when you only glance at such an event from a distance, you can miss some of the magic. The venue appeared to have limited seating, and they decided to buy, not rent, additional cushions. This accomplished two goals in one by giving away customized meditation cushions to the attendees. These made for great mementos, reminding guests of a spectacular day of ideas. Now, a venue integration from West Africa. TEDx Bagada always have stages with creative elements, like this Ankara print X, with patterns that extended to the wall coverings, providing depth and contrast. Their standard event was no different to their salons, and they wanted to extend this artwork off stage. They curated an exhibition of local artworks specific to one of their event's sub-themes, accepting Nigerian women as figures of power. Prominently featuring these works reinforced talk themes and provided great ambience during break. It extended beyond the main theater and across the entire venue. This highlighted local talent and sparked conversations that could carry on throughout the day. Moving on to Italy, TEDx Verona had access to an incredible venue, but wanted to liven it up in line with their theme, Time to Rock. By using simple cardboard cutouts and balloons, they got the most from their venue budget, creating an amazing visual impact across a traditional space. This party look and atmosphere was easy to set up, to remove, and created a great environment for audience and team members alike. At TEDx Reyes, they had a familiar problem. While some events are lucky to have access to beautiful theaters, these often have no space for break activities, making the day feel more like a lecture than an interactive TEDx event. So, their audience were guided on a 10-minute walk from their venue to an active vermouth factory, which provided much more space to play with. In this unusual location, they hosted a fabulous lunch, some tasting sessions, conversation tables for speakers, and a bookstore. Unconventional venues reset audience expectations and make for a more memorable experience. In nearby buildings, they added some fun activities, including blind touch drawing. These kind of breaks are engaging and cost-effective, requiring just pencils, paper, blindfolds, and boldness. Novel experiences can increase memory retention. Consider the benefit to your talks of having your audience engage in such unexpected activities between sessions. Next, to TEDx Almaty, a defining event in our Central Asian community. They maintained a unified visual theme, Far Side of the Moon, in their photo wall, programs, and badges. On the back of each badge was the name of one of 4 famous science fiction authors. During the first break, guests sought out volunteers holding signs with the name of the author on their badge. Then, in small groups, they would choose one of the author's works to make into a short recap film for social media. This was a very effective way to have attendees bond over a creative exercise, building a sense of accomplishment, community, and playfulness, which just makes an event overall more fun for everyone. Plus, cute videos on social media don't hurt either. It's amazing to witness the creativity coming from this TEDx team. Finally, TEDx Bangkok, a powerhouse event in Asia Pacific. TEDx Bangkok is shaping event planning philosophies and presentation styles across the region and beyond. The scent map is famous, where custom perfumes evoke the sense of flowers and cooking from different districts of the city. Going even further this year, in a breakout activity, audience members could place non-invasive sensors on the back of their heads, and, after smelling custom-designed scents, automated paint droppers would release droplets based on the intensity of measurable brain activity, resulting from these scents. This created remarkable, unique fluid canvases. Ideas at TEDx Bangkok are never limited to the stage. They also featured a walkable exhibit about the ocean, featuring artistic representations of ecosystem damage, to ensure the audience understood consumer waste. Of course, they wanted to practice what they preached. They made a memorable lesson about repurposing and working with a partner to create custom labels for black coffee, white coffee, and cacao nib tea. When finished with the bottle, attendees were encouraged to place their empties not in a bin, but on a wall display. This was in corresponding color shells. As the day progressed, this converted the day's waste into an unexpected artwork, guaranteeing the bottles would be recycled. An integration of theme, art, event management, ideas, and conscientiousness. This is just a handful of innovations from recent events. When we see these, we know they're not only due to a licensee, but to an amazing team made up of curators, impresarios, and unstoppable project leaders. TEDx teams are redefining event experiences worldwide through raw creativity, driven by passion, not profit. We'll continue to amplify these incredible ideas and support the rockstar organizers shaping the future of experiential learning and storytelling. What you share at these workshops has the potential to echo around the world. And when we see these inspiring individual event innovations, we know we're seeing the very future of TED.
Talks are like windows into your events and your communities. What you choose to curate fits within your event's program, but they're also part of a large digital collection of TEDx talks, now over 100,000. So I'm going to share a little bit about TED's strategy to keep spreading these ideas online, as well as some amazing statistics driven by all of your ideas. Scattered throughout, I'll share some tips for reaching an online audience that I hope you can use during your next event. Let's get started with those stats. TEDx Talks have been watched 15 billion minutes. That's kind of crazy and actually really hard to grasp. So I did a little calculation, and 15 billion minutes comes out to just under 30,000 years. The next stat I want to highlight is the number of views per day. Now we're averaging about 2.5 million views per day. That's like the entire city of Rome waking up every morning and watching a TEDx talk. A big way that views have become so high is the shareability of TEDx Talks. Every other second, a TEDx talk is shared. And interestingly, they're being shared one-to-one on messaging apps like WhatsApp or over email. Although many ideas are discovered by sharing one-to-many by posting to your Facebook profile or Twitter feed, sharing one-to-one is really powerful because it shows deeper engagement with an idea. So, my first tip is, when considering an idea for your event, it's always good to ask yourself, is there anyone I'd want to share this talk with? Thinking about shareability will make you a better curator. The vast majority of these engagements and others happen on YouTube, where all talks live on one TEDx channel. At the end of last year, we hit a huge milestone of 10 million subscribers. Viewers from all over the world subscribe to the TEDx channel because there's new talks every day in dozens of languages on a diverse range of topics. The TEDx channel has an increasingly global audience. While we continue to grow in the United States, it's the international audience that's growing at a faster rate. Other top countries for both subscribers and views are India, Brazil, Turkey, the UK, and Mexico, identified here on this map. A global audience means we need a global strategy. So let's talk about language first. We encourage all of you to stage talks in the local language. Talks in English are great too, but it's important to communicate TED and TEDx in the native language of your community. You can make a talk from your event more accessible through translations. The teams at TEDx Madrid and TEDxCon curated speakers with influence in that language and locality. But they built on that impact by working with TED translators to add subtitles in a variety of languages. These two talks remind us to curate locally while thinking globally, which is my second tip for you. And while you can see the YouTube watch page, I want to reinforce the importance of descriptions, titles, and production. When you're strategizing on these details, remember to consider the online viewer experience and optimize for discovery on this page too. Descriptions give important information about the speaker and their idea, and is a free space to demonstrate the legitimacy of the talk. On the right side, the suggested panel, this is all about clickability. Suggested video is the #1 driver of views and discovery of TEDx Talks. Notice which thumbnail images look attractive. vibrant, simple stage design, the TEDx event name Partly Seen, and strategic choice of speaker clothes to complement those elements. While we do optimize after you've submitted to the video uploader, providing great raw material for us to work with is super important. Lastly, the titles not only inform the viewer, but they also inform the YouTube algorithm on what to put here. Success on YouTube is all about collaboration. Your hard work on curation, scripts, fact-checking, titles, descriptions, and production, paired with TED's media distribution strategy. As we continue to grow the archive on the TEDx YouTube channel, we will also continue to expand our promotional efforts on TED platforms. This wheel represents just a handful of distribution points where we spread TEDx ideas. The next site I want to cover is Facebook. This year, we're collaborating more and more with TED's social media team to upload talks directly to Facebook in an effort to go where conversations are happening. On some occasions, TED sees that a talk from a recent TEDx event offers a fresh perspective the TED catalog does not have. Just a few days after the racially charged demonstration in Charlottesville here in the United States, TEDx Mile High shared a talk from a Black man who went undercover with the alt-right. And just a few days later, Theo's talk was much needed in breaking the tense conversations on Facebook to start the process of healing. Theo's talk is a great example of a timely talk that does not sacrifice substance for entertainment. There's a balance of both. And that's my next tip to you. Focus on balance to achieve substance and entertainment. But talks don't need to be timely to be successful. They can also just be timeless. Jessica McCabe chronicles her journey through daily life with attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, by creating personal videos and uploading them to her YouTube channel. Personal documentation of a disorder had not been explored by TED before, and TED's social media team thought that Facebook audiences would connect with this talk. And they were right. They were right about both these talks. After they were uploaded directly to Facebook, the views and engagement soared. If you haven't read the comments on either of these, please do so. There's a deep sense of gratitude for sharing perspectives they have never heard before. And my next tip to you comes with an encouragement that all of you play an extra special role in finding new perspectives in your own communities and networks. So, lots of pieces to consider here. Is a talk shareable? Is it substantive and entertaining? These are not only important questions for Facebook, but are really important when we consider what to curate for TED.com as well. Let's look at two talks featured on the homepage recently. The first talk comes to us from TEDx Stanford, where a glaciologist works with researchers near and far to measure changes beneath the ice sheet using radio frequency. This idea is not only fresh and cutting edge, it is deeply informative and very important to global conversations about measuring precise changes in our planet. Moving on, TEDx Indiana University invited a journalist previously detained in North Korea to deliver a beautiful talk about what she learned behind bars. Her simple reminder to set political ideology aside and embrace our shared humanity is not a new idea, but using her inspiring story to articulate this idea is new and needed during these times. So my last tip I'm going to give to you today is to ask yourself, is this a new idea? Or is it at least a new articulation of an idea? Answering yes to either of these means you're off to a great start. So while a homepage feature is a great accomplishment, it's no longer the only way to spread TEDx ideas on the website. TED.com also features TEDx Talks on the Ideas blog, where more than 100 written pieces are based on TEDx Talks. One TEDx speaker actually contributed a written piece himself from TEDx Boston. Beyond the Ideas blog, we are promoting more talks from the TEDx archive than ever before elsewhere on the site. We recently announced an expansive strategy to promote more TEDx Talks. This is something that our team is really excited about because we will see more TEDx ideas across all TED distribution channels, even if it hasn't been picked for a homepage talk of the day feature. This only happened because of the amazing work all of you have done and the belief that TEDx content is essential to achieving TED's mission of ideas worth spreading.
Thank you to both Will and Freddie for these great presentations. And, Freddie mentioned our big milestone of achieving over 10 million subscribers on our TEDx YouTube channel. And that's a good reminder for us of something else. You see, when someone subscribes to our channel after watching just one TEDx talk, in essence, what they're telling us is that they loved it and they would like to see more great TEDx talks. And that's a reminder to all of us that the most important thing in organizing a TEDx event is excellence in curation. During the week, you're going to hear a lot from everyone in this room about innovative ideas to create a unique experience in the room. But all this must be anchored by strong ideas on stage, powerful ideas by credible speakers, presented in an engaging way. If there is one thing that TED and TEDx does well, this is it. So please make excellence in curation the centerpiece of your event. So that's it from us on the TEDx State of the X. I hope you enjoyed our presentation, and congratulations for all that you have accomplished and that we have accomplished as our global community.